Hello everyone and welcome to another all-star interview with Fred Atkins. We changed the name for commercial reasons. Today I'll be interviewing Dean Rankine. Hi Dean.
How are you going?
Before we get started, I just have to... sorry. Apparently Star wasn't up for long enough, so I'll just put that there. Yeah. So, how's it going?
It's going good.
Excellent. So, you were just telling me before we started this, you'd been to a lot of conventions this month. Was it 9 conventions? Oh, 9 conventions this year.
9 conventions this year. It's been full on.
Excellent. So you go all around Australia and New Zealand doing the conventions.
Yeah.
And that's usually for the Simpsons comics that you do?
I think, well, mainly people want to see for the Simpsons stuff that I do. So at the conventions, I draw people like they're a Simpsons character or put their head in a jar like Futurama, and it's really popular. It's really interesting. It's very different than like my normal day-to-day life and like art stuff.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, it's almost like performance art in some ways. It's nice. I think people like to watch it get done in front of them, so it's something different and fun to do.
Yeah. So you said it's a bit like performance art. So like when you're at a convention, you're kind of performing there. You're not just drawing, because you see a lot of conventions, a lot of the artists, they just sit there and they draw. Sometimes they take commissions, but you're really into it. You're talking with the fans and you're getting to know them. And
I think so. I think part of it is like I want to sort of inject something sort of personal with the person that I'm drawing as well. So I've got really bad posture and a lousy back, and I should have one of those things I draw like this. But at the conventions, I like to have it flat on the table so I can draw, but people can see it sort of emerge, and that's part of the fun part of it, I think.
Yeah, excellent. So you're well known for 2 books mainly. So you do Simpsons comics, but you also do your own book, Itty Bitty Bunnies, which has had a few books, a few versions of it so far.
Yeah.
So Itty Bitty Bunnies in Rainbow Pixie Candyland.
Exactly. Yeah. So Itty Bitty Bunnies in Rainbow Pixie Candyland is the full name, and it's had 4 issues out. Number 5 comes out in mid-September, and I'm working on number 6 at the moment.
Okay, because there was the first one, and there's one where they save Christmas.
Yeah, that's the second one that they say Christmas. Yeah,
but they're quite big issues. Like there's a lot that happens in them.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah.
And do you find that the 2 different books that you mainly do, The Simpsons and the Itty Bitty Bunnies, they're quite starkly different? They've both got your same style of kind of very wide open mouths and kind of very bright, big eyes.
Yeah.
But they seem to be very kind of different tonally as to what you're trying to do.
Yeah, so like I think the Simpsons are trying to be funny, and the same with the bunnies, but the bunnies are much more obviously aimed at adults, and it's kind of that. I guess I'm going for a kind of like a shock humor. I want people to hopefully laugh at what they've just read and then feel a little bit guilty for laughing. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, that's really wrong. And then I kind of like, I've read it and I feel a little bit uncomfortable at the same time. So that's the kind of tone that I'm going for with the bunnies. Yeah. The bunnies also stylistically is much looser. Like, I keep reminding myself, oh, this should be fun to draw. You know, the Simpsons, there's more, like I'm aping somebody's style, so I'm really trying to get it as much like the Simpsons as I can, which actually I really like doing. And I think it helps me to draw better because of it. Just sort of like pulling it in, reining it in, being a little bit better regarding the sort of the anatomy and the structure. But the bunnies are just sort of like completely over the top in some ways.
So have you found that before you started working on Simpsons comics, your style was maybe a bit looser, a little bit more unreal?
Yeah, absolutely. And it was a real, like, I have a very cartoony style anyway, but before Simpsons it was completely over the top. I like, eyes on top of each other and all over the place. And, which I didn't mind, but also I think it was kind of lazy drawing in some ways, that I would do things and go, oh look, that's just my style, man. Like, I'm more out there, but I think I've improved. Or also I think in some ways I take drawing comics much more seriously than I used to. Like it's ridiculous the amount of time and effort that I think about comics and work on comics. It's like for funny bunny rabbits, right?
Yeah.
That I think a lot about it. I take it very, very seriously.
Well, that's kind of the sign of someone who's serious about their work.
I think so. As also, I think that.
Well, it's very different from someone who enjoys drawing comics and has drawn a few comics, whereas this is your job.
And
what you get paid to do. So you have to put that time in to make sure it's as good as you can.
That's right. And I really try to be dedicated with the amount of time and that I put in.
So does that mean that you have a particular work schedule? When you get up in the morning, you have your day planned out as to what you're going to do?
Yeah, look, I start reasonably late generally. I don't start drawing until about like 10:30, I think, because I've got to take the kids to school, because I've been going to the gym because of my back, and then sort of start to get into it. So in some ways I've only got a certain tight window before the afternoon. I have to go get the kids, and then I'll often draw into the evening as well.
Okay, and do you find that kind of tighter time constraint, does that help you? Does that push you to actually get work done in that time?
Yeah, actually, like, I'm always amazed with how much I can get done in half an hour if I can just start. Starting is my main issue. Once I start, I'm fine. I just need to get over that hurdle to actually get into it.
And if you schedule your day where at 10:30 you start work, it's a lot easier for you to go, all right, at 10:30 I start work, and then you're already in that mind frame of it's 10:30 work time.
I need to start it. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. So we won't really go into how you started at Simpsons Comics, because I believe you kind of showed them some of your stuff. Or did you show them, or did they find you?
No, I showed them.
Yeah.
So I'll give you the quick.
Sure.
The quick story went like I was drawing some stuff for those kids magazines that you buy in the supermarket. The work dried up, and so I went to the dining on Coles and to see what was around. I picked up a comic, one of the Simpsons comics, thinking I was kind of like I've always liked the Simpsons and been kind of influenced by them. Flicked through it, and it all looked really, really good, except for one page that I thought wasn't great. And so I was inspired by, gee, if that person can do that page that isn't great, maybe they'll accept my work that isn't great either. And I started sending submissions in, and I think
and it was just kind of that perseverance of sending in more.
I think it was about the third one that I sent in, and they got back to me.
Okay. And did you find? So you said that your work has improved, or your style has improved because of the specific style that you have to use when doing Simpsons comics. Did you try to use that style when you were applying to them, or were you trying to do your own thing to show them how you can work?
I was trying to get it more like The Simpsons. I kind of think if you pick up a comic, you want it to make it kind of, particularly something like that, you want it to kind of be consistent and kind of look like it. Which they've never asked me to sort of tighten up my style or anything like that, but that's been something that I wanted to do. But I do look back on those pages now, and they're really not on model at all. I'm getting better. But like recently I did some trading cards for them, and even still, I'm still pretty shaky. It's if you've ever tried to draw The Simpsons, it's a very hard thing to try to mimic, because you know when it's wrong. You could do a quick, Bart, and everyone knows it looks like Bart, but then you try to do it in a comic and try to make it actually look like the TV show.
Once you're doing it over and over again. There was a few things, I know they did it at the end of the actual Simpsons show, where it's Matt Groening, it's like a shot of his piece of paper. It's like, this is how you draw Homer Simpson. And he has it down so well. It's just like, it's two big circles and then a bump for his nose. And he does it in 5 seconds.
5 seconds, yeah.
And then the funny thing was, at the end, he does the hairline. It's like M, and the ear is a G. Matt Groening.
Yeah.
And so do you find that is there at a point where you've gotten either itty-bitty bunnies or The Simpsons where you just know how to draw it?
No.
References.
Look, the bunnies like they don't have to be consistent. Like I try to, if they're angry, I want all their bodies to like the whole body to look like it's angry, or it doesn't. They're always off model in some ways, But The Simpsons, I sweat over it. I desperately want it to look right, and I will draw it up to times before I actually think, okay, I think it's passable. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, moving on now so we're talking about Simpsons comics, but also your other work, Itty Bitty Bunnies, and that's coming out through Action Lab.
Yeah.
So, again, was that something that you were pitching to them, or did they come to you and be like, we want one of your books, we want you to do something for us?
Yeah, no, it was, so it was, I pitched it to them. What happened was, I saw it, there was a couple of local guys who had stuff through slave labour.
Yep.
And I think I'd seen them at some meetups. It was Jason Franks and...
with his...
and that was Six Cents.
Yeah, Six Cents.
I can't think of who the other person was, but though I was thinking, oh wow, if they can get something through that, I would really like to do that. I'd been doing Simpsons, and I had been doing sort of short comics, but I wanted to sort of explore doing some longer kind of form stuff. So I like things like, Johnny Homicidal Maniac and that type of things. I thought, oh well, and I was working on this idea about these bunny rabbits because I really like this idea of cute things being horribly adult in some ways. And so I pitched them the bunnies, and that was, I think it was 3 years ago, and they got back to me and they said no. And so I pitched through to a couple of other people, but then actually they got back to me, which obviously was a bonus, but also they have the Danger Zone imprint, so they have the all ages section and also the more adult section, so you can be as deranged as you like, basically. Yeah.
And was that something that you were really looking forward to?
Well, yeah.
Because you kind of been reining yourself in, both with your style and maybe with your story. I mean, with the Simpsons stuff, you're not writing all of it.
I'm writing it, yeah.
You're writing all of your...
Yeah.
So you're writing that, but you still have a particular kind of theme and style to write to.
Yeah. I mean, you're not, the bunnies are completely degenerate kind of stuff, and that was kind of a lot of fun to do. In some ways, even now, I think down the track, I think I'm easing off. I'm not as perverse as I don't know.
So that first one really had...
really was really bad. I don't know, but people might disagree with that, but I don't know. But so I'm not sure what the question was. So I was certainly it was completely outlandish, and it was a lot of fun to be able to just pitch that.
So you were saying that the first one was really over the top.
Yeah.
Did Action Lab tell you to kind of bring it back a bit?
No, they've been really cool as far as editorial stuff goes. Basically, the only kind of stuff that we have sort of toing and froing with other covers,
right?
To try and get that right. So this has been sort of very much a learning curve for me. I would normally say, okay, I'll pitch some stuff. The editor says yes, I complete the work, send it off, and checks comes down the track. For something like a create-your-own kind of book, I have to, I didn't realise how long it would take, you had to have it before Diamond can distribute it. It's months down the track.
Right. It's something like 3 months, you solicit it, and then 3 months later it comes out.
Yeah, so it's all that
kind of... You would even have to work up to that point before you solicit it.
Yeah, so it's all this kind of stuff that I thought I didn't, the stuff I didn't know. I didn't know about how to really draw a cover.
Right.
Because, I hadn't really thought too much about it. Suddenly go, you have to sort of think about it, all this stuff a little bit more. So it's been an interesting journey with the bunnies. It's been fun to do.
Okay. So now going back just a bit to the conventions that you go to, do you find that there's a big difference between the fans of Simpsons stuff and the fans of Itty Bitty Bunnies? Or do they kind of mesh together and they're fans of your stuff just in general?
I don't there's certainly some hardcore Simpsons fans, which kind of surprised me. When I got Simpsons, I thought, this is kind of a big deal, this is kind of cool, but I don't think I really realised how huge it was and what kind of fan base Simpsons still have. There's rabid, amazing Simpsons fans. And just to be a part of that is such a privilege to, kind of express how much I love being part of that. So the buddies, but there are sort of buddy fans. Like there's a guy, Dan Hicks, who has a tattoo and a buddy tattoo, and some other guys, some other people are really into it. So that's really that's nice, and that's mine. So it's, I don't know, it's hard to compare, but there's some people who just kind of just like my work, which is really nice.
Yeah, excellent. And so even going further back now, you're saying that when you are at a convention, you are you're there to, not just to sell your stuff and to make an appearance, but you're there to give something back to the fans in a way.
Yeah.
Like you're getting commissions from them and you're just even there talking to them. Do you find that's something that you've always been quite good at, or have you had to work on interacting with people in that way?
I think it's a really good question, because I think what drew me to, excuse the pun, comics originally is that I didn't speak very well. I was always kind of a shy person. So comics was my way of communicating with people, and still is. Yeah. Still is my main way of doing that.
Yeah.
But I think I've had to tap into another part of me that goes, oh, it's okay to be interviewed or recorded, or then to go to conventions and be in front of a crowd and that type of thing, which doesn't necessarily come to me naturally. But it's all right,
Yeah.
But I do get nervous. I get the pre-con jitters before every con.
Right.
I want to do. I want to do good work. I want to draw well for people.
Yeah.
I don't want to come off like a moron always. But I do get nervous before cons. But and I do find them very draining.
Yeah. I've heard that from a lot of people that they, after, even though you may have just been sitting at your booth for 6 hours or how long it was for, at the end of it you're just you're tired because there's just been a lot happening to you and around you.
I just feel really torn because I can't just focus on the one thing. Like I'm drawing, really trying to get the drawing right, looking at the person, trying to get the features right, and they might be talking to me, or someone else is talking to me, someone else is looking for another sketch, there's all these sounds. So normally, if I'm just drawing by myself in a little studio space, I have some music on, and it's quiet, and I'm just doing my thing. It's very distracting. At conventions, I always think I'm being rude to everybody because I'm just being torn in so many places at once.
Yeah. So do you find that having those constraints of Simpsons comics makes it easier for you to work? That you're not just with itty bitty bodies, because you can do anything. It might kind of spiral off in a weird way, but Simpsons is very specific.
Yeah.
Do you find that's a lot easier with those kind of constraints on it?
I don't think it's easier, but I think it makes me draw better.
Right.
Because I have to think about it much more. I have to be more contained and structured, and I do like that. I don't think it's. I do like to have both. It's kind of a nice thing, If I haven't heard from Simpsons for a little while, I get a bit anxious. Like today I just sent them off the pitch because it's been a little while since I've heard from them. So and while I'm waiting, I'll work on some buddies in between. That's kind of cool. I would like to get some other work through another publisher. I don't like, I like to, Boom, I like to do like Adventure Time or a regular show or something like that. I think, that's all I like. You might like to work on SpongeBob or something like that. I kind of feel like I need it for my own ego, or to be able to show, see, I'm a real artist.
Right.
See, it's not just that. I'm not just drawing that and that.
Yeah.
There's, that I can change my style around, or I can do other things. Keeping in mind, like I could never draw Batman, for instance. I can't draw like that. It's just not me. But
you've done a few. For people come up and they get commissions of Batman, and it's always a kind of goofy.
Yeah, they'll get a cartoon version of Batman if they come to me. Yeah.
And so just wrapping up now. Yeah. People often ask, how do you get into comics?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's about doing your own thing, or sometimes it's, doing something for someone. And do you think that the Melbourne comics or the Australian comics societies in general are very kind of open places for people to work in?
I don't know if it's everybody's experience, but I've had nothing but very positive feedback from local creators, and I feel very much a part of the community. But it's interesting, I think, particularly even just Melbourne comics, like we have this love for the medium, but we're all doing really different stuff.
Yeah.
You know that. You know, I don't know. You might have like the Squish Face guys doing very indie kind of stuff, but then you have other people like, I don't know, maybe sort of Tom Taylor, who's writing for Wolverine and like Iron Man and those type of things that I think that there's we kind of get bunched into the same kind of thing, but we're doing sort of vastly different kind of work, and I kind of think that. I don't know if it's true, that I kind of have a foot in both camps in some ways. They're like, I'm doing mainstream stuff, but I'm doing indie stuff at the same time.
So you have your kind of independent-esque kind of book, but you also have this mainstream licensed product. So you feel like it's quite easy to communicate with other people who are trying to do comics in Melbourne or Australia.
Yeah, and just in general. So it's kind of it's a nice place to be. You know, I like to be able to continue doing both of those kind of things. Yeah.
Excellent. All right, well, we'll leave it there for today. Thank you very much, Dean.
My pleasure.
Dean's books, Itty Bitty Bonnies and Rainbow Pixie Candyland, is available through Action Lab Danger Zone, and also Simpsons Comics is available through Bongo.
Bongo, that's it.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for joining us.
Cheers.
And it's a great talk.
Thank you.